We are up and going. Okay. Just double checking to make sure everything's going strong.
Yep. I'm gonna change this.
Okay. We're going live on Facebook right now. And we're live on YouTube. Twitch, where you at? And Twitch. Woohoo.
Bam.
Okay. Are we all good on your end, Johong? How you doing?
I think so.
Almost there.
Yeah. YouTube is being weird. Like just changing the.
The stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you can go ahead and
Cool.
start
We'll
us
get
off, and
started.
while I do this.
Jump on here. Cool. Hi, you guys. Welcome. My name is Kayla Winters from the Lunar Radiance Wellness Center, and I have my amazing co host here, Juhong Lang from Reality Switch Coaching. And we are so excited to have you guys on this evening on our live stream, or if you're listening back from the podcast on Spotify. We are so happy you guys are here. Today, we are going to be talking about the amazing book called Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. And we are really excited to dive into this super short, super skinny book. But it has a big, powerful message that I think is just really fitting at the close of the year, the start of a new year. Going past the holidays, maybe dealing with family drama, whatever it may be. This is definitely a fun book to jump into. Before we get started, let's take a quick moment to introduce ourselves. So, we are Radiance and Reality Coaching, and we are life coaches who go live. Again, I am Kayla. I am a life coach, sound healer, and yoga teacher. And I specialize in working with women who are pushing through burnout and perfectionism, working towards a life of self love, self discovery, and self exploration. And my amazing co host here, Ju Hong, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. So my name is Juhong Lang, and as Kayla said, I run Reality Switch Coaching, and then my main focus is help people in relationships just get to a better space when it comes to emotional intelligence in their relationships. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything.
Woohoo!
Just helping people communicate better and be better aware of themselves and how they interact with each other and the world around them. um but yeah, and I am super excited about this small but mighty book. I've
Yes.
taken so many notes, I've highlighted so
Yay.
much, so this was a very great pick. Thank
Yay.
you. Thank you
I'm
for
so
this.
excited. Okay, well, before we jump into this amazing book, Who Moved My Cheese, I just wanted to take a quick moment since this is our last stream of the year, which
Oh
is
my
amazing.
gosh.
This is our 11th stream that we've done. And we have talked about the emotional intelligence audit, how fear impacts communication. We've talked about energy vampires. We've talked about navigating loves, beliefs, and boundaries. The Perfection Trap was our very first book club that we did this year. Amazing book, by the way. Great choice, Juhong. We talked about rest or being forced to rest and burnout. We've talked about how speaking clearly is super important when it comes to communication. We have also talked about hustle culture, and we've talked about making the choice for yourself. And so I think this is really beautiful that we're coming to this conversation about who moved my cheese. And this story really is all about change and whether you're willing to embrace it or not, which it can be a testy one. It can be a testy one. Especially to have that realization of how we really do get in our own ways on our own journeys. Um, so yeah, Juhong, I want to hear about what your thoughts were. I don't know, just a quick overview of things that jumped out for you from this book. Where to start?
Um, So for me, um, I mean, in the beginning, like, Dr. Spencer Johnson talks about, like, kind of like, or ask the question, like, who are you in these stories?
Mhm.
But that each of us has a part of each of these characters in ourselves. And I guess the biggest thing that kind of jumped out, well, one of the biggest things was just we've talked a lot and I've shared a lot about like how my growing up was always just all over the place and I felt like in I had already kind of been set up to be kind of like that sniff and scurry where I'm
Mm.
very just okay, things change, all right, let's move on, let's go, like, okay, that's it, whatever it is, and being very aware of when changes may be happening or coming, as I talk a lot about in my life, that once the leases were up, we pretty much just moved all the time. So I knew, I mean, I may not have known exactly when, but I knew that wherever we were at, it was not forever. And so we were going to be moving all the time. At least, well, I guess at least twice a year for me because my mom would move, my dad would move.
Mm, mhm.
And so I think that was a huge part of it. And being thankful, I guess, that actually that is the case. But then I here's the biggest, like, sting I feel like I felt in reading it, was there's that a part in the book where he talks about, I think it's Ha, and when he's going through and he thought that his fears were gone, but
Mm,
actually they were still there and still very prevalent even if he didn't want to, accept that,
mhm.
and so I think that was just the biggest, like, sting, I would say, where I realized, "Oh my gosh, yeah, right," like and we talk about this as life coaches, right, that, look, just because we help you resolve this thing now, that it doesn't mean that it's just gone forever, like,
Yeah.
these problems, these challenges will still come up, it's just you'll be in a better place to actually handle those things, and so those would be the 2 things that really kind of, I mean, there's, the whole book, every page,
Right.
because it's so short, I feel like they did a really good job of just keeping it very focused, and so
Mm,
every single piece of it was just amazing, and every page was there was something on almost every page that I was highlighting or writing on a sticky
mhm.
note and taking notes on, so, yeah, it was just
Yeah.
great. It was wonderful.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, what about
And
you? What are your, like,
yeah.
biggest
Well, just a bit
takeaways?
for anyone who hasn't read Who Moved My Cheese, so there's, like, 4 main characters in this, like, little story that they tell, and it's Sniff and Scurry, and this story, like, takes place in a maze, and Sniff and Scurry are mice, and Sniff is able to, like, basically know that like, can sniff out that change is coming and be able to move through it that way, and Scurry is a mouse who just, like, jumps into action, so when change comes, it just jumps in. And then we have him and Ha, which are little human-esque beings, they
Yeah.
describe them as. And Hem is very resistant to change, doesn't wanna lean into it, and would rather just stick their feet in the mud, which I think we've all been there. And then Ha is someone who is had their feet in the mud, I would say, but
Mhm.
then began to realize, well, sticking my feet in the mud is not getting me anywhere. And so it's about this story about how literally they found cheese and they survive off this cheese and they feel great about their cheese. And then all of a sudden, with realizing or not, the cheese is gone. And what do you do? Do you stay? Do you keep waiting for the cheese to hopefully maybe return? You don't know. Or are you willing to go into the maze of unknown essentially and adapt? And so the story kind of goes off with Sniff and Scurry, the mice who don't have necessarily the human emotions or intellect, so to say, and they just go off. They just go, ah, it's gone, must move on, must survive. Hem just sits there waiting, expecting something to change. And Ha kind of goes through this journey of, well, waiting here isn't doing anything for me. And so, what should I do now? And goes through this journey of essentially finding cheese. And I love this story because I feel like it provides so many different perspectives of how you can go about change. And I think also ways I don't know, the pros and cons of them both, right? Or of like, I kind of sees both sides of like, well, why are you waiting? Why are you not? Which I love because sometimes I think we get lost in kind of like the positive mindset or like you just jump in, right? And whatever. But it doesn't really take into like the reality and the hardships of fear and how scary fear really can be and how it can be truly all consuming to a point that you don't even realize that it's happening. And just like the complete lack of awareness that some of us, even though we have the intellect and even though we might even have prior experiences, we still end up in these situations where we are simply like heaming and sitting there with our feet in the mud being like, "Why is this happening to me?"
Why?
So yeah, I really love this book. Um, I love just the simplicity of it in so many ways and how it can be applied in literally any situation. Frankly, from relationships to work to your passions to just like literally any situation, and how just change is something that you can always rely on. And are you going to lean into it or not? That's, I think, the biggest question here. So I have a bunch of questions here that I am really excited for us to like dive into. Um, and I also really loved you, Hong, like what you were saying about how you like saw yourself as this sniff and scurry early in your life.
Yeah.
And how that can be really valuable to have those skills essentially. Um, Even though, of course, that sucks to have had to build those in childhood, but they do have their benefits though, because nothing's worse than being an adult and being like, "I have my feet in the mud," and, you know, having to ugh, I don't know. These life lessons, right? Like, they're great and they suck. And I think that that's something about this book that I also love is that it kind of acknowledges it's gonna suck, but it's gonna suck more to just sit there with nothing. So you might as well try.
Yes,
So yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I've again, I have like I said, I have so many sticky notes of just thoughts. I've highlighted so much, and yes, I'm excited to talk
yay.
about this book.
So is there a point in your life where you were like, I'm him, the person with their feet in the mud? Can you think of a time?
It's funny. I actually maybe not in the traditional sense of like always being the person who is just from the beginning very well. This is just what I know, and this is what I'm just going to stick with. So I'm going to be convicted on this thing. More for me, the hem part of it is more of after I've made a decision to change to like scurry, then being just very hem about it and going, "Well, this is what I've chosen, so I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna work out no matter what, even if my cheese is slowly disappearing little bits at a time." I'm going, "Nope, this is still the right decision. There's nothing I need to do to change. I just need to keep on the path, stay the path." And then eventually, things in most cases, I feel like it's been where it doesn't actually pan out, and then my cheese is gone, and then I go, okay, maybe then I think in those moments, then I am more easily changed to become more like a ha, where it's like, okay, this didn't work out. Let me now go find my new cheese. And kind of
Mhm.
like how Toga Eater said, gotta pivot for the cheese. Um
That's
And
awesome.
so I think that's in those moments where I've been more like a hem, or after I've made the decision, I've scurried, and now this is the only thing. This is it.
Mhm.
Which I was saying it now out loud. I'm going, oh my gosh, no, I need to continuously keep pivoting and say, okay, if this doesn't work, then I need to change and do things. So that would be for me, when I've been more of a him. And as far as maybe a specific time, maybe my life coaching stuff,
Like, my whole life. Yeah.
where my whole business, right? Where I'm
Yeah.
like, well, this is it. It's just gonna work out. I'm gonna do what I've been told, and that's it. I'm gonna stick with it.
Mhm.
Here's the writing on the wall. I'm just gonna go with it. That's it. Um, and so I think there are a lot of moments in life where I have been very hem like, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but that is the most recent, most recent thing,
Yeah,
but also
nothing
not
like
a bad thing when when your cheese is actually still there and you're still going out, and, if your hem thing is that, "Well, I'm gonna continue looking for cheese and still enjoy the cheese that I have," and being convicted in that kind of thing. But when things are not going well and your cheese may even be moldy and you don't realize it until after the fact, right, that's when it becomes a problem. So,
yeah,
how about
absolutely.
you? When have you felt, hem like
I
or done hem things? Oh god.
The
For
long
those listening on the
silence.
podcast,
Yeah.
Kayla's face just got really, really serious, and she's just, like,
I also really
deadpan.
feel the whole, like, well, my whole life no, I think, like, for me, one of, like, the biggest, like, standouts in this book has been, um, the whole like, when they didn't even realize that their cheese was disappearing in the beginning and, like,
Mhm.
the slow diminish of their cheese, and they're just, like, in the bliss and the, "This is gonna be perfect forever,"
Yeah.
I
Life will never be
really
bad.
my young adult life, especially, like, I feel like the trick of higher education of, like, go to college, get in debt, that's
But
how
it's
you find
fine
your
because 'cause you're gonna make
cheese.
so much money
You're gonna
after
find all
college.
the cheese at the end of this, girl.
Yes.
Just keep going this down this corridor. You're not gonna look a fool. You're gonna have it all figured out, right? Like, I
Yeah.
think that entire, like, journey as a young person, especially, like, being led and, like, I feel, like, cheered even, like, along that journey of, like, "This is the way to go. This is the way to go," and kind of the not even, like, listening to myself, knowing that, like, maybe I shouldn't go this way, but
Mhm.
going that way anyways. I think that that has been and then when I got there and yeah, there was cheese for a little bit, not gonna lie, like, there was cheese for a little bit, but then when I was realizing, like, well, I don't even really like this cheese, and, like, oh, yeah, this cheese is kinda moldy. And starting to
Mhm.
have those realizations, and then I definitely had my moment of, like, heme where I'm like, "What the hell?" And it wasn't even like and I there's also a part in the book too where, like, Ha is, like, trying to talk to him and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, dude, like, come on, like, there's gotta be something more," and he just, like, immediately turns to anger, right? Like, I've
Yeah.
definitely felt that way on my journey of, like even with starting my business too, like, I've done these things and and I've worked hard and all these things. I should just be able to have cheese forever, right? Like, the cheese should just be, like
I worked so hard to get to this cheese
yes,
station. It should
I'm
just be
like, "What do you
unlimited
mean?"
cheese now.
That, like, I gotta go to the next one. Like, I feel like I really was, like, raised with this idea that, like and I think this comes back we've talked about, like, the American dream and stuff, like, if you follow
Mm,
XYZ, you will be successful and, like, happiness and, like, all these things, and that, like, is so romanticized that, like, that's all that needs to be done, and, yeah, so I feel like I've been very keen when working through the maze and getting there and then realizing that it's not what I thought it was gonna be, and then kind of having my, like, breakdown
mhm,
and rotting there for a bit for sure, and diminishing myself and really questioning myself, and I don't even think that I really I, like I recognized that there was no cheese here that I wanted or was going to l give me the satisfaction that I was hoping to get from cheese, so to say. And mind you guys, I know I'm saying cheese a lot. Cheese is like a metaphor for happiness. It could be money, it could be anything that you
Job, it could
want
be
it to be that
whatever. Yeah.
provides you satisfaction and
Hmm.
success, right? Um, so I think that I knew that this was not gonna give me what I wanted, and I still was stuck there anyways, and I was just mad and sad, and then I was like, "Do I even wanna look for cheese anymore?" Like, I was like,
Right.
"Screw
Yes.
this, like, what is even the point?" You know, I definitely had, like, frankly, like, really dark moments, when realizing and, like, having those realizations of, like, that change is inevitable and it happens all the time, and the best thing that you can do essentially is to learn to adapt.
Hmm.
And sometimes, like, not sometimes, that is a really hard pill to swallow when you've been, like, told, like, "Oh, yeah, if you just work hard and do this and follow the rules, that's all you have to do, and then you'll be satisfied," and that's just not the case. So I think that in itself was, a fun little journey, but I think and that's why, like, I love that that's why I became a life coach is because I've learned through that, that you really do have to fall in love with the journey. You have to fall in love with moving through the maze, and you have to be able to find the beauty in that, and it can feel so crazy almost, like, especially when you were, I don't know, raised to think that, like, you just like, cheese is the epitome of existence, and it's actually really, like, moving through the maze and being able to have those experiences and those journeys that you don't know what's gonna come, that, in a way, is kind of the cheese. That makes sense. The cheese is not the cheese. Is that totally makes
Interesting.
sense, right?
Interesting. 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 Cheese is not the cheese.
Cheese is not the cheese.
There is no spoon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
So a lot of hem for you.
a lot of him,
Yeah.
a lot of him. On a journey to ha.
Well, if you hang around with me enough, it'll happen very often. Don't worry. I love I love laughing at myself and when things go wrong and it's just like, well, you know what? That's crazy. Let's figure this out.
Yes,
Um,
same.
yeah, it's yes, very, very
I
interesting.
do love that about this book too, is, like, Hall literally is, like, laughing at himself, which I also really love because I think that you have to, like, otherwise you're just gonna cry, which
Well, yeah,
isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I was like, you can cry and laugh at yourself at the same time.
Exactly, all of
I've
the
done
things
it
at
a
the
lot.
same time, but I think that that laughter, like, really does, like, provide some relief and some softness to something that can feel really hard and rough, and I think the more that you laugh and, I don't know, just enjoy it, the better it is, so, yeah.
Yes, I agree. I'm trying to find where it is in the where he does say something about it. But anyways, yeah, we can continue on with your questions. What other things you wanted to
Yeah,
specifically talk about before I just like
so
jump into it? Like other
yeah,
things are like,
well, we can jump
well,
in whenever we want.
if we
Um,
yeah.
something else, so with that, thinking about ways that we've been human our life, what created that shift for you into kind of like a more of a ha perspective of being more open to change?
Honestly, I don't think that I really got to the point of being able to laugh at my own misfortunes and mistakes until a lot later in life because when you're growing up as a kid in America and the school system is very judgmental and very much, well, this is no laughing matter. Like, you failed this spelling test.
Mhm.
Like, you're basically the worst student in the whole school. And so I don't think in the beginning I might have had it a little bit as a kid where it was just, you know what, whatever, life is that way. It it definitely felt more serious if I was to brush something off as a kid.
Mhm.
It was just, well, it is what it is. That's it. But there was no laughing necessarily. And not until later in life where maybe after call well, not after college, but I think when I joined the military, that's when it's funny that seems to be the moment in my life that jumps out at me as far
Mm.
as when I started to really just laugh at the ridiculousness of life and how things that you think are going to happen a certain way, or you planned something and you thought it was going to work out and it doesn't work out. But that was the place where I learned just shit happens and like, hey, whatever, it's just crazy, right, that we're living in this world and it's doing what it's doing, the world is worlding, like that's it,
Mhm. Yeah.
and there's nothing you can do about it, so you might as well just go out having a great time. And I don't know if it's the military's just the idea of like, you put your life on the line and you might, anything could happen at any second. So maybe that's where a lot of that might have come from. But I think that would be the first time when I really embraced this idea of just laughing at how terrible the world could be or how misfortunes can actually be very entertaining, um, for you and everyone else.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that would be the first time
Mhm.
that I felt that way. Um, I think if you would meet me now, like anyone listening to this podcast or whatever, and listening to all the conversations we've had, you would probably go, "Psh, man, you sound like you've always been this way." But like literally, I mean, that was a while ago, like 10, 15, 16 years ago. But yeah, so that's what I
Yeah.
would say. I don't know. How about you? Do you feel like, I mean, you were very, very much in that hem when we were talking about that. You were like, "Oh my god, this is my life."
Yeah, I
But
mean, I think in lots of ways too, like, like, to protect myself, I, like, was sniffing scurry vibes, but it
hmm,
was very, like, here to, like, protect myself, rather than, like, truly leaning into consciously moving into a place of change with, like, grace and care and, like, love on my side as opposed to, like, "Well, gotta push through." So you you know, eat or be eaten kind of vibes. I feel like I moved through life in that ways, or I just had, like, my feet in the mud, and I think especially with, like, perfectionism and whatnot being
hmm,
so heavy, like, it's not that I was, like, doing nothing, it's like I was creating this facade, like, I was him creating fake cheese being like, "Oh, yeah, look at this cheese I have. Haha, so delicious," and then you bite into it and it's like, styrofoam. Like, kind of vibes like that to adapt
yeah,
and fake that things were okay when really I just had my feet in the mud and was freaking out and was like, "This is how I think I'm supposed to, like, deal with this."
hmm,
Even though deep down I knew that it was not working out for me. But I
hmm,
do have to agree that I think with, moving into adulthood, like, as a kid, like, you really just, like, you have ideas in your head of, like, what life is gonna be like, and you do your best, and then when you become a young adult, like, you're really just, like, thrown into, like, reality, essentially, and that's when, like, your decisions really have real life impacts. I
Hmm.
think on a different level. I don't know, you finally have that freedom, so to say, and then you get to see how your decisions with that freedom impact you in the long run. Um, so I do think that my journey into college and then post college too, I think really just getting out of, like, education and that kind of safety net and facade of, like, success, so to say.
Hmm.
A's, B's, and C's do not D's, whatever, do not necessarily translate into your ability to adapt to real life. And I think getting out of that and really experiencing life in that sense, was really when I was able to feel like I had more of a say, or I guess when I began to have that change of like, "Is this the cheese that I want? Wait, I can actually do something about it." I think a big, like, saying for me was like, "You're gonna suffer no matter what, so what are you gonna suffer for?"
Right. I think you've said that. I think
Yeah,
in our
I'm sure I
last
have because that's like
last episode, I
yeah,
think you
probably,
did say that
yeah, when we're talking about
actually.
hustle culture, right? Like,
Yeah, like you're gonna
this plays
suffer
into that, like,
anyways.
if
So
you're gonna, like, move through the maze, you're searching for cheese, you gonna enjoy it or not? Are you gonna hate your life and complain and kick and scream the whole time? Or are you just gonna skip and dance along the way, you know?
hmm,
Um, and I've really just, like, leaned into the skipping and the enjoying of the process, since having gone through realizing that, uh, some cheese ain't all that. So and
yeah,
really coming back to, like, my power, which has been really liberating for me, so,
yeah. It's
yeah.
funny. This book reminded me, and I wrote it on a sticky note, and it was just this idea when after Ha leaves the old cheese station C or whatever, and he's going through, and in that part of the book, it talks a lot about how the fear that he was facing when it came to, well, I'm not sure if there's gonna be more cheese or not. And then as he kind of went through, he just realized, oh my gosh, those old things that he used to think they like it didn't end up being true or whatever. And it refreshed this idea in my mind of that. So you have your current situation, you don't have your cheese, there's no cheese. And you have a choice to decide whether you want to think about things from an opportunity perspective or
Mhm.
from that fear perspective. Like you can
Yep.
choose which one you want. And some people choose the fear part, right? But then it's like, okay, but if you have the choice and no matter what, your current situation is going to be the same and the outcomes could be the same too,
Mhm.
then wouldn't you just want to then choose the nice, the more positive, the hey, there's hope here
Mhm.
versus just, well, there's no way, nothing is going to change. This
Yeah.
is how it'll be forever. Life is just going to suck. Because no matter what, either way, you're going to end up in the same place no matter what. So then why not just choose the path that is the skipping and the music filled and
Mhm.
just, you know what, whatever, laugh when things don't happen how you think and, and enjoy the moments versus going through life being just this like I don't know why, but the word that comes to mind is like this like curmudgeon, but I don't even know what that word means.
Curmudgeon.
Like a curmudgeon. Hold on, let's do the
Need to Google
let
that.
me do the
Curmudgeon is
Webster's dictionary.
hilarious.
But you know what I'm saying? Like no matter what, you can just choose to at least go through it and not be miserable and not have all those heavy things on your heart and just go, you know what? Well, I have a choice. I can move forward. Okay, well, how do I
Mhm.
want to move forward? Great. And then just choose to move forward in the most positive and wonderful, fun way that you can.
Mhm.
If that's possible. I understand some life's things can be very where there is just, well, this is just gonna be freaking miserable going through. But as a child of divorce, let me tell you, there are still very funny ways you can get through it and figure
Mhm.
things out.
Yeah.
So, let's see, definition of curmudgeon.
The most important part of this right now is
Okay. All right. So
definition.
this is the Oxford Dictionary. It is a noun,
Okay.
curmudgeon. The plural noun is curmudgeons, just in case if you wanted to know. And the definition is a bad-tempered person, especially an old one. I don't know why
Love
age
that.
has a thing, but a bad-tempered person. So, I mean, it's pretty accurate then, you know? And because you've sat there and stressed so much
Mhm.
about what choice you're going to make and how you're gonna get out of this, you do become a curmudgeon because then you get older and older and more miserable and bad-tempered, and then you decide, you know,
Mhm.
even when your friend Ha comes over to you and is like, "Look, I found new cheese. Look how delicious it is. Try some." "No, I don't want it. Ah, it's not the same." Like,
Mhm.
ugh,
It's
it's
gonna come one day.
yeah, you just need to be patient and just, like yeah, anyway, so there's it's interesting because there are obviously like a lot of things, you know, with balance, and you know, I tell people like I have adopted a very Taoist like view on life. Like there's a balance to everything, and like yes, patience can be good, but then inaction in the face of a a volcano that is erupting in front of you, you will die. So
Yeah.
just do something, run, like whatever.
Yes.
Uh, so I mean, that's
Yeah,
a very
that was something that came up too during this book, you know, like this question of like, um, when like loyalty can be really valuable at times, but then
yeah,
to what end? Right? And loyalty to a person, to a job, like so many different things. I think, especially like in our culture, I think that that's become like less popular, at least in the job scene. Um, but maybe in relationship scene too, right? Like there's huge divorce rates, right? Like all sorts of things. Like, um, interesting to think about that. But yeah, like how loyalty to what end? How does it support you staying loyal to whatever belief, idea, lifestyle that you live? Um,
yeah. When
totally.
is enough enough?
When is enough enough? Absolutely. Ugh, so much easier said than done. Um, is there any cheese in your life that you felt like has been diminishing?
My marriage. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that because Andrea's asleep right now.
Yeah.
So, um, cheese that is diminishing. Hard to think of something now because I feel like right now, I mean, this year has definitely been a year of going through the maze and just finding out, okay, look, if it's not this cheese, then this cheese. If it's not that cheese, then this cheese. Like, and you know, if it's not this room, then it's this room. If it's not that station, then it's this station. And let me figure it out. What exactly am I looking for? And we've talked about this, I think, also in one of the first episodes about this idea that one of my mentors gave of like that there are a million different paths, but they all will lead to the same thing. So no matter what choice you make, whether it's this corridor or that corridor, you will end up in the place you need to end up at the
Mhm.
end. And so um I feel like in the beginning of the year, there was a lot of cheese that was like running out. A part of it probably the job, like working at Disney as a manager, and seeing kind of like I had a great team. Thankfully, I am blessed to have had amazing like upper management and stuff. Uh, just seeing like the life balance, the life work life balance, just not balancing really, and that even in a place where it was a little bit more relaxed, it's still I would still be there for 12 hours a day sometimes, right? And so and of my own will, like, honestly, nobody would have, like, a gun to my head and was like, "You need to
Sure.
stay." But, you know, you wanna, like, help out and you just wanna be there for other people, but then you're not there for the people who need you, like your family and things like that, right? So, I think that was a cheese that was running out. I think life purpose was a cheese that I felt I was fulfilling someone else's life purpose, which a great purpose, like to spread joy and happiness and magic to the world. I love it. I'm here for it. not in the way that I wanted to, but I didn't realize that until I started this life coaching journey. And then going
Mhm.
now from that to, okay, maybe that's not the cheese I was really looking for, or that's not the flavor of cheese I was looking for. Oh, there's another flavor of cheese with this like financial
Mhm.
education and helping people learn to trade and invest. Like, wow, this cheese tastes really good. Those were okay. This one, same flavor, same like style of cheese, but a slight different flavor. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not a cheese connoisseur, so just, disclaimer. Um, I've had a lot of different kinds of cheeses, and I do love a lot of different kinds of cheeses, but, so that is one. But those are a few cheeses I feel like that were running out, or maybe the flavor just started to get kinda stale for me, and I'm like, "Okay, how can I really shake things up?" And I need to get out of this cycle of just not fulfilling my life's purpose in the way that I want to necessarily.
Mhm.
Um, and a little bit also was in my relationship where it was not necessarily like the cheese was running out, but my cheese was getting moldy and I was the one molding it.
Totally.
And mold like the bad stuff, not like I had my hands and I was like molding it into something beautiful. Um, I'm cheesing life. Um, I am very cheesy. So anyways, oh my gosh. Um, and so like that would be a cheese where I didn't realize I was letting it mold, and then through this whole year and this whole process, just learning, okay, look, maybe I need to cut this part of the cheese off. Let me um like save this cheese, and then I don't know how cheese is. I understand kind of basically how cheese is made, but then it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna use a sourdough thing. So I take some of this like mother dough, and then okay, now I'm gonna turn this into a bigger batch of dough
Sure.
for like more bread. There you go.
Totally.
That's
You want
if you
like
can do that with
a
cheese, then yeah.
three-layer cheese. Or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yes, yes. I'm gonna
you
find
know?
other flavored
Yes,
cheeses that also go well with my relationship cheese, and then put them
yes.
together to make a delicious queso dip. Um,
Period.
there you go.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry if you're
um,
lactose intolerant listening to this.
yeah. Well, if you're lactose intolerant, then just imagine that I'm talking about lactose-free
Yeah,
cheeses, like
exactly.
vegetarian
And
cheeses,
cheese.
Um, I've had nutritional yeast before.
Oh
That's pretty good,
god.
actually. It's pretty tasty. It's
Yeah,
not bad. It's a pretty
I
good cheese
agree.
substitute. Um, how about you?
Yeah.
Also, a lot of change and things going on.
Yeah. I think oftentimes as a perfectionist, people pleaser, all these things, I'm like not even trying to get cheese for myself. I'm getting cheese for other people. And then I'm like running through the maze trying to get cheese for others and then burning out and like
Hmm,
crumbling in the maze. And then I'm like dragging along, like
that's interesting.
falling apart. Um, and then it's like, why are we doing this, girl? Um, I think that in some ways, like that's how it's looked. I really love like Ha throughout the story, he like writes things on the walls of this maze to kind of share inspiration for him and I think really for himself too. I think he has a moment in the book where he like looks back at all these things that he's written and his growth essentially. And one of my favorite things is like um smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old, right? And we talked about like
Mhm.
molding cheese and all of that too. But
Yes.
I think it's really like how often are you really like assessing your situation? How often are you really, like, looking at what it is that you have? Do you have enough? Is this what you want? Is that like, oftentimes I think that I'm like, "This is great. This is good enough," or "This is fine," or just really settling oftentimes and not truly going after what it is that I want or speaking up for the things that I want because, well, I have cheese here. Why should I try to go find it somewhere else when this is suffice enough? And I think I've had opportunities this year that have brought that to light for me of like, you know what? This cheese, you don't
Hmm.
want this. yet fear has been something to nail down my feet and say, well, maybe if you just wait a little bit longer, if you just, if you're a little more patient, if you, whatever it may be, when at the end of the day, if the cheese smells, it smells.
I mean, all cheese is smelly.
That's true. Okay. If it is moldy, it's moldy.
Moldy, yeah. Okay.
And if you can cut off some mold, but only to an extent, and then eventually you're out of cheese.
True.
So yeah, I just really loved I think it's really valuable for me just like assessing your situation often. Often, often, often. There's nothing even like daily to just check in with yourself, check in with where you're at with, can be your relationship, it can be your job, it can be your financial situation, it literally can be like, do I have hobbies? You know, that assessing and that awareness is so crucial to, I think, get if you can get ahead of the curve, that's you gotta start there by simply assessing to know what it is that you have and how you want it to be different. So that's been, I think, a big, like, lesson that I've learned many a times, but I needed to learn it again this year, that I think has really stuck with me. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that one, I just, again, it's just this great like quote that the unexamined life is not worth living. And it's just
Mhm.
like, yeah, if you never smell your cheese to make sure that it's not getting old,
Right.
um, or that it's even the cheese that you actually still want,
Mhm.
then what are you even doing? Like,
Right. Right, like, coming back to, like, awareness and power and choice and
yes,
how valuable it is and how we can literally just be like, just going along because this is what you're supposed to do, or this should be enough for you, or this is what you were told success is, or is the best cheese, and you're like, "This tastes horrible," right?
yes,
But if you
and
don't take the time to ask yourself and say, like, "Is this it?"
yeah.
And then you gotta start there before you're even gonna get into the maze. You gotta start there.
Yes, I need a
Uh,
maze of steak, or hamburgers, or cheeseburgers, sorry,
yep.
cheeseburgers. Um, yeah, and I think too, like, a great point too, right, is like you said, like, it's almost when other people are saying, "Hey, this is the cheese you want."
Mhm.
You can say no. You can say,
Yeah.
you can try a little bit,
Mhm.
see, and then go make your decision, right? Whether you like it
Yeah.
or you don't.
Mhm.
You don't have to accept all the cheese that you're given. There's a
Yes.
lot of different cheeses out there. Lots of, and I
Mhm.
that part I know about cheese. There's a lot of cheeses out there. You don't have to just go
There's options.
for the sharp cheddar. You can get some Gouda. You can get some blue cheese. You can get some feta. Like, to each their
Yeah,
own. Everyone has a
absolutely.
cheese for them.
Yep. And it's really like, what is your flavor? What is your and if yeah, and something that I think is so cool too, like, we don't even know how many cheese stations there are out there. Like, I think where they found their initial cheese was at cheese station C,
Yeah,
and I think that when, Ha found cheese again, it was at station N,
yeah,
okay? Like, N, that's it? Like, how many more are there out there, right? That, like, have yet to be explored, have yet to be and I think that that's just such, like, a parallel to life, like, there's so many beautiful things in this world, so many opportunities, so many just chances to experience greatness and beauty, and yet we will just stay at station C. What? And it could be, like, even after station Z, there could be, like, station 1, 2, 3, 4, you know? But we just
yeah,
tend to settle for what is in front of us, and, that is because, like, we're here to survive, right? Like, we wanna take care of ourselves, but if we know that if we keep searching that was, like, another thing that was written on the walls by Ha was, um, "Movement in a new direction helps you find new cheese." And if you continue to move, like, you're gonna eventually find cheese, whatever it is. Like, if you have that momentum and that movement, like, you're gonna find it. It's just, do you have the strength mentally to be able to go out there and be willing to experience it?
Yeah, I mean, and even when he left Cheese Station C, he was already weak and like
Mhm.
tired, and still decided, "Hey, I'm still gonna go look for new cheese."
Mhm.
And then realized, "Oh my gosh, if I had just not spent all of this time being stubborn and afraid, I could
Mhm.
have done this search in a way better mood and energy, and would have been so much
Yeah.
easier, and he probably would have already found the cheese by the time, like all of these things, and it was just yeah, because then he gets to that first not cheese station end, but, like, he finds a cheese, like, room, but then there's
Mhm.
only just those nibbles left
Yep.
over, because Sniv and Scurry had already probably gotten to that, because as soon as they started realizing, "Oh my gosh, this cheese is going away, cheese is going away," they're like, "Hey, let's go find some new cheese," and they already beat them to that.
Mhm.
And so, like, I think that too, that even when you are tired or you feel like, "Oh, it's too late for me," or "There's no way. I've already been in this terrible relationship for 15 years. I can't start over. I'm just gonna sit in here and hem
Mhm.
about it." Like, okay,
Mhm.
well, guess what? No, you can still move on.
Yep.
Like, when people get out of their marriages at, like, after 60 years and people are like, "What are you doing? That's crazy." It's like, well, like, things just happen and they don't wanna be together anymore, like, that's fine.
Mhm.
Like, why do we make it so terrible that, like, it's like, "Look, no, you have to be together forever." It's like, look, sometimes you get in a relationship, you get married, and you're like, "Damn, this was not the this is not it." And instead of sticking into it for those all those years, I mean, obviously, yeah, you work on it, you try to get better, but if things don't change, then, like, girl, like, get out. Like, you got a whole life to live.
A
You
whole
don't just
life.
because you're in this relationship for 10, 15, 20 years doesn't mean that you have to stay.
Mhm.
And then that's all that time that you're wasting on you could have been finding the other person, the person that's really going to, your real nice flavor of cheese that you're really looking for,
Mhm.
because some people they just get into things too early and they just don't realize and then just it's just anyways. So yeah, even if you are tired and all that, you can still it's just movement. He doesn't
Yep.
say fast movement. He doesn't say anything
Perfect
about what kind of
movement.
movement. Just any
Yep.
movement in a new direction will help you find that new cheese. And it doesn't have to be a
Absolutely.
relationship, obviously. It can be other things too. It can be
Right,
a
it can
job. It can
literally
be
anything,
whatever.
yeah.
I'm not telling people to, get out of your relationships.
Take
Like,
it as you will.
yeah.
We all make mistakes, we all screw up, we all mess up, we all go into a corridor we're not supposed to, whatever. But had you not, then you wouldn't have known whether or not that's for you.
Yeah.
So, take the chance. It's
Hey, if
worth
you're in the
it.
chat and you agree, hey, look, it's never too late. Just start a new direction. Like, please feel free to put a one in the chat if you agree, because we all out here, we all hustling, trying to find our cheese. Um,
Absolutely. I love that, like, excuse too, and of,
you love
like,
that
I'm
excuse?
the excuse of, like, "I'm too old for this,"
Oh yeah,
or, like, "I should know this," or whatever it may be. Like, I love those excuses
agree.
of why you can just heme around about something. You're never too old. You're never, like, we are imperfect beings that are here to mess up and make mistakes and be messy. And the best thing that we can do is just invite grace into the space and laugh and just say, like, I'm just here to figure it out. I'm here to run through. And how much more fun is it to do that than to just be angry,
Yeah,
frankly? So much more fun.
yeah. I think
Something,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say something that I really love too is there's, like, a lot of imagery that, Ha went through in this book of, like, imagining themselves like getting to the new cheese and imagining themselves having like a great time and envisioning and whatnot. And I just loved that because you do NLP and the subconscious work. And I thought that that was like a perfect parallel of like how
Literally.
important it is to
Yes.
like envision and to truly like see these things as you're working towards them, right? So I
Yeah.
wanted to get your thoughts on it since you are the NLP master over
I am a
here,
master practitioner, this is true.
to see how that landed for you, or if anything came
I
up for you there.
oh my gosh, like, it's funny because that was one of the next thing I was gonna talk about too. Um, I absolutely loved it, and I was not expecting it because I don't know, in my mind, I'm just like, "Man, who knows about, like, like, vision boards and doing all that stuff, whatever." And so, for those of you who have not read it, I obviously highly recommend that you get this book. It's not very expensive. I'm pretty sure it's like, what, 15 bucks maybe at the most, I think?
I'm trying to
Um,
think.
so in the book, as Hawes going through and even in the beginning, he starts to imagine what having that new cheese will be like,
Mhm,
and just and in great detail, like, how is the cheese going to taste? What is he going to look like? How is he going to be smiling and, like, all of the energy flowing into him? It's gonna be great, like, all of these things in great detail, and that is usually the part of manifestation that people get. They're like, "Cool, yeah, like, I have it already. What does it look like? How do I feel?" But
mhm,
then we always talk about in your subconscious, it communicates in sounds, images, and feelings. So you
mhm,
have to have all 3 of those things. You can't just imagine what it looks like. You have to imagine, how does it feel? Like, how satisfied will your stomach be when you get that cheese? Like, or how will you feel when you're embracing that new loved one? Or how you feel when you're walking through those doors of your new job and, like, and all that stuff. What do you look like? How do you look? What do you dress like? What does the office building look like? What does the place that you meet your new significant other look like? Whatever. All these things. What does it sound like? What are the sounds that you're hearing? Are you saying anything to yourself? All those things. So the book, it just lightly kind of touches on that, but it brings it up a lot, which I love. The part
mhm,
that people usually miss is the fact that he was already taking physical action to get the thing. You
mhm,
have to take that physical action. If you do not take any action on this physical plane of existence, nothing will
mhm,
happen. Right? Like, you and I as life coaches, what a yoga instructor, all the things, like, we cannot just sit in our rooms and just go, "Oh, what is it gonna be like when all these people show up to my sound bath on Saturdays?" Like, okay, yeah, you can do that, but then if you don't actually go find the place to do it, set it up, and, like, and send invites and promote it and do all these things, like, nothing will happen. People will not just go, "Oh, I feel like I should go to this weird random place and sit in a sun bath and whatever." Like, no, people don't do that. You have to do the action here on this physical plane. That's usually the part that people miss. In NLP, we also take it a little step further because what we also want to make sure is that when you are doing this manifestation work, that it is like as if you are doing it, but your unconscious mind is so efficient, not
mhm,
lazy. Is he so efficient that when you imagine that you have it, your unconscious goes, "Okay, cool. Look, we had it. Done. That's it. We don't need to do any physical work anymore. We already got it." So what we usually do is, like, so we have you do all of that imagery work, and, like, with you looking through your own eyes, and you are seeing the things, hearing the things, feeling the things, all the things, everything. And then we have you, like, now, like, freeze frame it and pull yourself out of it, so, like, now you're, like, third person viewing it, and you see yourself in the picture, and this dissociation is then what causes this, what we call, like, this, like, rubber band effect, where
mm,
now your unconscious mind goes, "Oh, wait, 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 no, no, we had it. Why don't we have it anymore?" And then you're consciously like, "Well, yeah, because we don't actually have it. And I need you to understand that unconscious mind while we are setting up for, like, how it's gonna be when we're gonna get there."
mhm,
And then so your unconscious mind goes, "Okay, great. Like, so we don't actually have it. Okay, so let me now do the work, like the unconscious work of changing our behaviors, changing our beliefs, changing our everything, all the things
mhm.
to now put us towards and on that course for this new cheese that we're going to be having."
Absolutely.
So that is also like a big thing. And details, like excruciating details. We usually use the idea of like a GPS, right? Like I tell people, look, when you go into your GPS, your Apple Maps or whatever, your Google Maps, all the things, and you type in an address. Well, you don't just type in the number of the building. You type
Right.
in the whole address because like I could type in 111 and that might be the right number, but there's a lot of buildings that have 111 likes, right? So
Right.
you have to be very specific in that way too. And I love that in the book he says always in detail,
Mhm.
like these are the things. And the
Yeah.
fact that he is already making movement towards the thing, and as he's moving physically through the
Mhm.
maze, that he is imagining all those things. So
Yeah.
so yes, it was wonderful to see. I was like, blessed, this is great. Again, he doesn't go into super detail about it. And I think The Secret is kind of the same way where it's like they don't go into super detail about it. They just talk about, look, this is kind of what the idea is,
Right.
but they leave out a lot of those key things.
Sure. Yeah,
Which is fine
absolutely.
because this book has a lot. It's not about manifestation, it's about how to deal with change. So but
Absolutely. And
yeah,
how to
so
get to a place where you are like you can really, like, get past the fear and be able to really step into what it is that you are looking for. And if you
yeah.
aren't able to embody that, aren't able to see that, you're how are you gonna even you don't even know what you're going towards. So I think that having those
Yes.
visualizations and being able to step into that person who has that cheese, whatever it may be, really becomes that compass for you of the actions that you're now taking are in alignment with that, and then all of a sudden that door opens up, that corridor, you know now because you've done XYZ to get here, and that has now unlocked this knowledge to get to this place, right? Like, it really becomes this, like, beautiful domino effect when we can truly learn to trust the process,
Yes.
which yeah, it's, again, so much easier said than done. It really comes down to learning to trust yourself and rebuild that trust to be able to, I think, let the fear fall aside. I know to be able to let that fear fall aside, you have to rebuild that self trust to be able to envision, to be able to have the confidence to say, like, this is where I'm moving. And regardless of the outcome, I know I'm moving towards greatness in some capacity or another, which is just a beautiful place to be. It really is, especially when you get to a place too where you're able to fall in love with that and start to see the fruits of that process, which is just fantastic. So, yeah,
Yes. And it's so funny too. Well, it's funny. It's all great. And because one of the other things that I loved, and he just kind of mentions it, but doesn't really talk too much about it.
sure.
And it's this idea that as Ha was going through the journey, that he
Mhm,
was finding little pieces of cheese along the way. And
mhm.
it immediately made me think of how we've been talking in this podcast, this live stream about these little wins, small goals,
Yes.
and that will give you that momentum to then finally get to that big thing. And
Mhm.
so that was just, I feel like it's just such a small part in the book where he just goes, "Oh yeah, like by the way, like yeah, he's finding these little cheese." And then he is getting more uh he's getting more like not invigorated, but he's starting to get more
Energized.
confident and
Yes.
more energized because he's finding these little pieces of cheese as he's moving in this new
Mhm.
direction. And so, like, those are the things too, like, I think when people are going to be moving in that new direction, it's like, okay, know that your wins in the beginning may not be huge wins because things sometimes take time, but
Mhm.
celebrate those little moments of those little
Yes.
wins, those little goals that you're hitting.
Mhm.
Because movement in a whole can feel like you're moving a cruise ship, like trying to turn a cruise ship, which takes forever. But, but like those little wins of like, all right, cool. Now we're like just slightly more on course. Okay, we're slightly more on course. Now we're slightly more on course. Like celebrate those things because it will be like that, especially if you're trying to make huge moves in your life, in a
Mhm.
whole aspect of your life.
Yeah.
So that was like something so small in there that I was like, I love this too. This is so great. That was a little tangent, but
No, that was beautiful.
also
I
really,
love that
really
idea of,
good.
like, turning, cause like, I mean, even just driving, I feel like we always come to driving analogies. Even with driving, like, you can't just, like, skirt, like, you could flip your car, like,
It's true.
not good things come from, like, rash action. Comes from soft, little, tiny turns that lead to those bigger turns, and that's something too that I think is a big theme in this book is, like, noticing how these small little bits really do lead to these bigger changes, um, and just major confidence. With this too and thinking about, like, NLP and your subconscious mind, I also loved just his recognition that, like, these old beliefs that you have will not yield you to this new cheese, and really having to, like, shed that and let like, it's literally like a weight holding you down as you move through the maze that is not supporting you on your journey, and how important it is to have to be able to release that weight and these shields that we think might be protecting us and let them go to truly allow yourself to um, maybe like that those old beliefs are preventing you from even imagining, from even being able maybe you're able to imagine, but you're not able to embody, like, the subconscious brain is like, "Mm, we see
Mhm.
that you're trying to make these changes, but we're still letting this fear hold on to you." And just like we have to be able to release the old to truly be able to get into the new. So if that isn't a great message for this for leaving everything in this past year to be able to step into the new year with new energy in the search for cheese that we truly want and desire.
Yeah. Um, yeah. There's a great quote. Let me double check who it's from. I'm pretty sure people say it's from Henry Ford.
Mm,
But I'll verify that.
yeah.
But the quote is that the system that caused the problem cannot be the system that solves it.
Yes.
And I say it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's exactly that. Like, if your old beliefs didn't get you the success you wanted,
Right.
then clearly some of those beliefs probably aren't going to help you get to that new
Mhm.
thing. Like, but I think a lot of people then get stuck in that hem where it's just, but this is what I've always been told, and or this has worked for other people, but maybe other people aren't sharing with you. Well, I actually did tweak some
Mhm.
things, or
Yep.
well, I actually did these other things too, like that really benefited me and helped me make this new change. And so again, yes, like, and then changing belief systems, changing values, your identity, and adopting new beliefs, identity, and values will help make larger changes, whether it's a diet, whether it's whatever, anything. Um, like that also again, like that NLP. This whole book is like NLP, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's just yes, like you have to shed those old beliefs. And it's like beliefs, the behaviors, and maybe it's something else. It's like this kind of thing that where they just kind of feed into each other in like this loop in the circle.
Mhm.
Um Results, that's what it is.
Mm,
Behaviors,
yeah.
results, and beliefs.
Yeah.
That your behaviors will get you results, and your results will reinforce your beliefs, and then your beliefs will give you your behaviors, and then it just kind of goes in the circle. But you have to change like one at a time, like as you're going through. You can change all three, but sometimes people find that to be very difficult. But like if you start changing one, and then when you run into that those new behaviors, then it's like, okay, this is interesting, and then just kind of give it some time so you can get new results. And then once you start
Mhm.
getting those new results, then your beliefs that you had in the beginning will now finally feel like, yes, I did believe the right thing,
Mhm.
but only if you're getting the results that you want. So
Right.
like making those changes, yeah, 100%. Like, yes, that was it was beautiful to see that in there
Yeah.
too.
So
I'm old
good. I love
beliefs.
that. And it just circles back to, like, you gotta assess, you gotta like, everything that we've been talking today is so crucial to be able to really embrace and, like, have power when it comes to change that happens. So, yeah, so cool, so
Yeah.
cool. I wish
It
I knew this before, right? But let me take a minute to let that go and know that I know it
Yeah.
now and know that I'm on my way to chasing new trees now that I have this newfound knowledge, right? Um, Because that's the only way that you're gonna be able to move forward. If you keep holding on to, "Oh, I wish," or "I could've," or "I should've," all those things, it's like, what I can do now is this.
Yeah. Yep. You gotta let go of that oldie moldy cheese.
Old and moldy.
Oldie moldy.
It loves
Oldie moldy
to
cheese.
loves to cling on.
Yes, it does, and it smells really, really bad.
It does. It can be
Um,
stanky, and the stank can
eh,
can chase you.
yes. Let's see, what other things are really great in here?
I also something that I love too about Ha and his willingness to, like, document his journey, really, with writing these messages on the walls. So he wrote we've talked about some of them, right? Of, like, "If you don't change, you become extinct. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old." These are some of the many messages that he wrote on the wall. And I think it's just like an ode to sharing your journey can be so powerful, and also how it is a way for you to be able to truly see how far you've come. Because
Hmm,
he started with, like, "I need to change," right? And then he recognized the fear that was taking place, like, this beautiful journey that he went through, he might not have been able to see all the little pieces and all the bits that were going on for him if he hadn't taken that time to write it down, to share it, to document it, whether he knew that it was for him in the future or not. So journal, take the time to document. I mean, I love that we're doing these lives because I it's like our way of, like, documenting our journeys, you
see our
know?
journeys,
It's
yes.
our way of writing on the wall, which is, like, so cool because not everyone has that in such a public way, right? And it doesn't necessarily
True.
need to be so public as starting a podcast or a live stream or whatnot, right? It can literally just be you in a notebook, right? Or sticky notes on your wall. Like, it can look like so many different things. But to be able to have something that you get to look back on and be like, wow, look at how far I've come. Look at all of those times that I went into the maze and did the hard thing and allowed fear to step aside. It just reinforces again that self-trust and that confidence and the courage to go searching for the cheese. Which I think is so, so powerful and such again, like another one of those like smaller messages within this book that I just loved so much of ways to, I think, find joy in growth.
Yeah. I mean, even as Haw's going through the maze, like, it always talks about, like, oh man, and he's starting to like remember, like, oh, this is what he loved in the beginning was just the search for it and the
Mhm.
journey, like that he just fell in love with the journey. And I love that you said that in the beginning of the episode, like that, it's like the cheese is not the cheese, it's like the journey is the cheese.
Yes.
And it's like, yes, because that's what he talks about, that like, yes, the journey itself was the thing that he
Mhm,
enjoyed the most. And
mhm.
yes, the cheese is great because that's the goal,
Totally,
the end
sure.
game. But that the continuous looking for the cheese is like that's the great thing. It's like
Yes.
avoiding the stagnation of, okay, cool, like now I got it. Because when they first got to that cheese room and they go, like, I think they just left their shoes off or whatever. They didn't
Mhm.
even like care. They were like, oh, we found it, we're good,
We're
we don't
good,
ever
we're
need to look
chilling.
again. But
Yep,
then Sniff and Scurry, like, I think they were the ones who originally put their shoelaces, they tied their shoelaces, put it around their neck just in case they were gonna have to
yep,
look for more cheese.
yep,
Like, and then when he does it at the end, and then the rats, the mice are like laughing at him, whatever. They're like,
yes,
ah, like he gets it now.
yep.
Um, and like it was so good. Um, one thing that I wrote down here on my sticky notes. So I did like take like a bunch of like sticky notes and stuff.
Cool.
Well, I wanted to write on the book, but then a part of me was like, "Oh, I want to kind of like preserve it," but I did end up highlighting and stuff. And like if I ever give this book to someone, I don't want them to just focus on what I highlighted or what I
Mhm.
wrote. But anyways, so one of the things I wrote in here on page 42 was like our focus on being clever instead of practical ends up creating more problems and work for ourselves.
Mhm.
And then we end up trying to find shortcuts because this is when they were like at the end, they finally were almost like, okay, you know what? Maybe the cheese is on the other side of
Side
this
of the
wall.
wall.
And
Yes,
then so they
yes.
start like breaking through the wall and creating
Yep,
a hole and getting so tired. And I'm
yep.
just like, how often we do that where it's just, look, because now we feel like we've missed the bus, like we
Mhm.
have to now put ourselves through so much struggle just to because we feel like, okay, look, we just gotta outthink them, outthink the
Yes.
universe, and then we'll do it. It's like, bro, like the universe, God, whatever, all the things is they don't even doesn't even care. Like it's not like that serious. Like, why do we think that it's so intentionally against us or whatever? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and so like, yeah,
I
if we would
loved
have
that
just
part.
started searching when we should have in the beginning, then we would have our new cheese. Um, and as someone who enjoys like trying to be clever and figuring out other ways of doing things, um, it was an interesting thought because I was like, well, I mean, being clever is awesome. It means you're smart, like you're
You're
quick-witted,
like,
this is
"Not me."
yeah, like this is what people
How
should
very
dream
human of
of
you.
being. Yes, exactly. And so and like right now I'm listening to the Odyssey, and
Mm,
like Odysseus is the Greek hero is very clever and smart. And so that kind of coming to that realization that yeah, but sometimes we can be too clever and think like that things are more complicated than they actually are. And they talks about that in the end of the book too, like or the end of the story that why do we overcomplicate things that are actually very simple? And then right now it's also making me think of this idea where I was talking with my wife, like Andrea, about like it's so funny because I notice that students at the academy, what they'll do is they'll take very complicated things and oversimplify them
mm.
to the point where it's like, no, actually, it's a little more nuanced than that. But then they'll take these really simple things and way overcomplicate it. And it's like, why? Just no, like, just look, simple is simple, complicated is complicated. Keep them in their own lanes. But it's like, I think people have this tendency to do this where we flip flop the two. And I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on that? But also anything like about the book. Obviously, we're here to talk about the book, but just this kind of idea that it talks about overcomplicating things.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm just like, yeah, like, I just think about, like, the whole time, like, you could have been spent looking for cheese, right? And they're, like, banging holes in walls, and it's doing nothing. It's, like, perfectionism, taking styrofoam, turning it into cheese. You're still starving, you're still uncomfortable, but I gotta look like I'm good enough, right? Like, all of
Hmm.
these different ways that we love to, like, fluff and try to make ourselves feel better rather than just, like, accepting reality for what it is. Like, we are so resistant to acceptance and in so much denial. And I even at the end of this book, this whole story comes from, like, this guy sharing it with, like, I think it's, like, a high school reunion group or whatever from high school or something. They're, like, getting
Yeah.
together. And, someone asked, they're like, "Who's afraid of change?" And, like, one person raises their hand. And then they're like, "Who thinks that everyone's scared of change?" And then, like, everyone raises their hands, and it's just, like, affirming the idea that, like, we're all in denial that we're afraid of change, but, like,
Yeah.
we're able to recognize that everyone's afraid of it, right? And, oh, like, how we just we like really trick ourselves. We trick. And then again, for what? To feel like we're doing something more than we are. Again, hard pill to swallow, especially like when you're using that to make yourself feel stable and secure. Oof, been there. It hurts. It does not feel good. But the sooner that you're able to just recognize, like, what am I doing? And sometimes I think it's really helpful to like it really is helpful to talk to other people, to share, to let people in on like where you're at on your journey or what you're doing or whatnot. Because
Mhm,
sometimes it can take that person to be like, why don't you just do it like this? You know? But again, fear, ego, all the things gets in the way of us being able to just like see the truth for what it is. Ugh, so frustrating. Been
mhm.
there, done that. Um Like, I even I was cracking myself up. I was writing a list of I just completed the 6-month coaching program, which
Nice,
was,
nice.
like, so exciting, and, like,
Yes,
I was like, "I
congrats,
can't
yeah.
believe, like, 6 months," and so we do, like, a SMART goal and all the things, and I didn't achieve the goal that I set out. But yet I was able to write down, like, 25 things that I, like, had accomplished within that 6 months, and I was like and I started offering sound baths, and I started, like, this whole podcast, and we have, like, 11 two-hour, and yeah, I could still
Yeah.
focus simply on, like, the fact that I didn't meet this goal that I, like, set out, right?
Hmm,
Um and so anyways, all that to say, one of the items that I had put on there is I started seeing a mentor, and I was really proud of myself because I was really scared to see this mentor because I didn't want them to see me as a failure, even though the reason why I was getting a mentor was to help me. But yet I
true.
wasn't willing to let the mentor help me,
Hmm,
right? What the hell?
yeah,
What the
that's
hell?
yeah,
It's like
that's
going to the doctor and
interesting.
not telling them that you're sick. And then it's like,
But
how are
you're
they supposed
here.
to help you if
Yeah,
you're not willing to admit that you're sick, right? Like,
yeah,
again, like perfectionism, all of
yeah.
these things that run so
That
deep, ugh,
that's crazy, yeah.
to the
Like,
point
yeah.
that, like, you're not even like, you have like, the help is there, and yet we're so like, I am have been so willing to, like, stick my feet in the mud, and then I did it, and it went amazing, and it wasn't as bad, and they didn't chew me up, and they were, like, proud of me, and all the things, right? And now, like, I'm on a direction for finding new cheese because I was willing to let that ego, that fear, all those things go, but had I not,
Yeah.
I'm just nibbling on the moldy cheese, or I don't have any cheese. I'm over here trying to bust a hole in the wall thinking that I'm gonna get further when really that conversation was like, "Well, you just need to go left." You know?
Yeah.
Like, it can be that simple, but yeah, ugh, we love to overcomplicate. Love, love, love. Yeah, how are in what ways we'd love to hear from you guys in the chat if there's any ways that you have overcomplicated or allowed yourself to have moldy cheese or whatever it may be. Um, and again, like, we're all, like I think every single person is guilty of this, right? Um, so what way yeah, curious to hear what anyone else has, like, experienced and the ways that they've allowed themselves to settle, to be in fear, frankly.
Yeah. Or if y'all have questions too, please feel free
Yeah.
also. And then for anyone listening on the podcast, if you have questions, email us. We
Yeah.
also have our Instagram and Facebook. We have our YouTube as well. You can go on our YouTube channel and go on the live and post a comment on there, a question, all the things. So if you have any questions or have any thoughts, please share those as well. Um, it's
So
funny.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna
No,
just like when you
go.
said that actually, it was when you brought up the doctor thing, I was like, that's crazy because it's almost like, oh well, I don't want my doctor to think I'm unhealthy. So I'm just gonna lie about my health and say like, "Oh no, I'm feeling really great." Like, you go for like your yearly, hopefully you go for
Mhm.
your like yearly checkup and everything. But it's like, yeah, like why do we lie? Like, why don't we say, well, I've been having this weird like pain over here, or I've been having this, and it's like, and
Mhm.
I think, I mean, I think I know why, but um yeah, the idea of like, well, I don't want my mentor to think that I don't have it all together,
Right.
even though that's literally the reason
The
why you have
point.
your mentor, and your
Right.
mentor wants to help you, like, figure out all your
Right.
things.
Because the
But it is
reality is
crazy
we
that we
all
have that.
have challenges and are experiencing
Yeah,
change all the time, but
yeah,
again, are, like, in denial that this is happening, and, like I mean, it's even to the point, right, like, even like, you go to the doctor, like, I grew up, like, not even going to the doctor because of the excuse of, like, "Oh, we don't have time," or, like, whatever, like, life's just too busy that you, like, don't even go, right? And it's
yeah,
like, "What?" When the resources are there. Like, sometimes, like, literally, like, cheese could be sitting there and you can be like, "Well, I don't like that cheese," but you've never tried it or whatever. Whatever story you've told yourself as to why you are rejecting support, care, whatever it may be. Um, ugh,
yeah.
they do we do our best. We do our best, and now here we are learning tools to do better.
True. Yes,
Oh,
yes, 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 and one little step at a time.
yeah.
Um
Okay, I did have some scenarios,
Okay.
and I have one that I feel like is, like I feel like kinda relevant for you
Okay.
having, um, gone through like, this scenario is called the identity crisis, and I'm not saying that you an identity crisis, but you did go through this year, like,
Maybe.
quitting Disney, going through, like, starting a business, and, like, experiencing different roles, and, like, your cheese has been moved a lot, frankly. So, this scenario is you lose a job title, relationship, or role that you built your life around. Who are you when the label disappears?
Wow. Um, uh,
Just, a little heavy,
just a
just a
little
little
light conversation.
yeah.
Um, it's crazy because I actually did feel this way when I left Disney,
Mhm,
because I noticed that even on my social media, a lot of my friends are all people from Disney. A lot
mhm,
of Facebook groups I was in were all Disney Facebook groups, like, for employees, right? So, I actually did kind of have I still kind of have it where I'm just like, "Oh, man, I wanna, like, I don't know, message people or whatever, but everyone I know is just working at Disney, like, I don't really have I do have some friends who are, like, life coaches, right, obviously,
sure.
and now with this new job, I have people who are in this, like, financial world that I'm able to talk to, and it did definitely like, who was I when the label disappeared? Um, I felt like nobody.
Mm,
Like, my whole life had just been so revolved around Disney,
mhm,
and not just working there, but, consuming the content and just all of these things that going to Disneyland was, like, such a big thing, and it was just such a part of my life, and, just today, talking with my sister about the time when, like, I don't know, 10 years ago when we went for her birthday,
mhm.
and I did this whole, like, little, like, button ceremony with her and stuff,
Aw,
and did a whole, like, record the whole video and everything, and so leaving that as an employee, but kind of like, we don't have passes, so it just felt like I was kind of nobody, even though I just started this huge, like, "Oh, now I'm Ju-Hong Lang, life coach, here we go." It still felt very, like, empty, I guess, in that way when I'm seeing
mhm.
everybody post things about, "Oh, work," and,
Yeah,
"Oh my gosh, I just did this thing with Disney," and, "Oh my gosh, we just did the, like, 5K, and we just did this," and, like, what all of these things, and I'm just like, "Man." And, definitely, again, I think, kind of like seeing that was, like, my station C, my cheese station C, where I'm like, "Oh, man, well, maybe I could just, like, go work there again." or no, no, I need to go this path. I need to stay on this new movement. I need to keep going down these corridors. I will find my cheese. And so yes, and then throughout the year, which thinking like, well, life coaching was the new cheese, and then learning, oh, well, I could also learn to day trade and make more money that way and use that as a vessel for my other things like life coaching. And so then it was like, okay, well, actually this flavor of cheese is more enticing now, and I want to really
Mhm.
focus on just where can I find more of this cheese. It's like
Mhm.
financial cheese, I guess. Um and then I really had to think about, well, what was it that I really wanted in life? And now that I had this freedom to like,
Mhm.
well, now life can really be whatever I want it to be because I can choose
Yeah.
kind of now, right? Um, and then when I set it in my mind more of, well, I really want to have freedom of time. Like that was one of the biggest motives for starting my own business, was having my freedom of time. And then it was providing for my family and building a future, like all of those three things. And so, what thing was going to come my way? What cheese was I going to find in this maze where it's a lot of unknown? Like when Ha is walking through and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm having to go through like unknown parts of this maze now. I don't know
Yeah.
how this feels. This is kind of
Terrifying.
scary. I can always
Yeah.
go back to my comfort. Although going back to my comfort will be a little bit harder because it would have been like, well, I have to apply and hopefully there's a job, all those things, right? um which I think kind of helped me maybe to like continue on this path. And like now I've found it, but I don't know, again, like I guess to answer the question, who are you when the label disappears, maybe because it's so, well, I guess I don't know, I guess this would be the perfect time to talk about it because it's so early in that time, even though it feels like centuries ago. And I keep forgetting that, yo, it was just this year, like 10 months ago, not even 8 months
Mhm.
ago. It feels like forever ago, and I think when I found out, I guess, who I was when the label disappeared would be someone who wants to make a large impact in people's lives, like, regularly, like, in their lives, not just to be the escape from life. And I wanted to be the person who could go on vacations and like, and again, like, do whatever I want to do kind of and afford whatever I want to afford. Which I have also gotten that now. And then the third thing of like now providing for my family. Well, now my wife doesn't have to work. Like, I can now, I've kind of taken on that part where now I like, well, I want to provide wholly for my family so she can, hey, she wants to work, she can work, but she doesn't have to. She can go do something artistic, she can whatever. And like now I've assumed this role, I guess you could say. Um, so I think when you like take a step back, I don't think you have to quit your job to really feel this or to reflect like this. Although it is definitely very helpful because it makes it
It makes
real.
it real easy to
Makes
say.
it, yeah, who
Yeah.
am I without this thing now?
Mhm.
Um, I think it's really good to take a step back and just to really reflect on how does your job align with who you are, and are you making these friends at your job just because, well, it's just we just work there, so it's just like convenience. Um, But yeah, because I think even when I was there, I tried to get to get to know people outside of their roles, whether they worked under me or like in concert with me or they were above me. Like I wanted to learn more about who they were as people, like outside of Disney. So yeah, but I don't know. That's, I guess, how I would answer that. Um, I mean, for you and your journey, like going from student and then like all of the work that you were doing and like just really what it sounds like you like losing yourself in work because you're just like, I just need to like produce. Like, how did that feel for you? I guess going from that to now. I'm a business owner. Woo.
Yeah. I think what I really found out is that, like, at the end of the day, labels don't really matter and labels are temporary.
Mm,
So, as much as you want to cling on to them as, like, a source of stability or legitimacy for who you are as a person, they don't matter and they're not gonna be there forever. And what I learned through losing my labels is that I really just have to fall in love with who I am and know myself. It forced me to get to know myself for who
mm,
I am. Who is Kayla? What is Kayla like? What does Kayla enjoy? What what's gets me going? What leads me into the maze? What fears do I have? All of these things. I think that labels really clouded my vision. And still to this day, I think labels are a really great way to make you feel like you have the cheese when maybe you don't,
mm,
or it's like the fancy French cheese that blah 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 is triple whatever, and, like, that sounds really
mm,
cool. That's great, but is that truly what you want, what you desire? Is that really, like, is that enough for you at the end of the day? Like, and when that is gone, are you gone too? I think, it's really, like, allowed me to, like, release the hold that labels had on me for so long. And to be able to go into the maze knowing that I might have this label for a little bit, I might have it for a long time, but, like, at the end of the day, like, I get to choose what that looks like, and that it doesn't my value doesn't change based on the cheese that I have, if that makes sense. So,
mm,
yeah. Again, easier said than done, still working on that journey. I mean, shoot, I started a whole 'nother business while starting a business.
mm.
Grabbing all these labels along the way, right? Um, and more does not equal more necessarily. So yeah, labels really labels do not equal worth. Labels do not equal success. Yeah, I think the identity collapse is, ugh, so helpful in a world that relies on them for value. So,
Mm,
yeah. So now, like and, like, you get and anybody I think that's also something that I learned on, like, my journey as, a life coach when I, like, first decided, because like, before, like, I thought, like, you had to apply for jobs and you had to, like, become worthy of these titles or whatnot. Like, you can be whatever you want. You wanna be a magician? Go be a magician. You wanna become whatever it is that you want, like, you become that. Like, I that's what me starting my first business was, like, all about for me, was, like, me being able to, like, choose what it is like, choose the cheese that I was searching for, right? And, like, make the actions in alignment with that. And I got to pick it now. I wasn't in desperation searching and grabbing for whatever was willing to like, whatever. I
mhm,
was no longer desperate and I had choice now. And when it was really fun when I created my first podcast with my sister called Just Say No Podcast. It was so cool because I had gone through that journey of, like, deciding what it is that I wanted and who I could be and, like, what was my label, right? And, even, like, the Lunar Radiance coaching, right? Reality Switch coaching, like, those are things that we got to, like, pick and choose to, like, label and identify with, right? And my sister was 18 at the time, had just, like, graduated high school, pandemic is going on, and I'm like, "Kelly, who are you gonna be? You get to go on this podcast and you get to say, 'Who is it that you are?' Like, you just created this whole thing, like, you're a creative director. You're, like you are these things and you have the opportunity now to like claim them. And it was just like so, I don't know, as a big sister, it was
Mhm.
such like a cool moment for me because I had to go and embark on that journey myself. I didn't have somebody that said like, "Kayla, you get to be whoever you want to be." I had to go through many dark corridors and wrong turns and moldy cheese to get to a place where I was like, "Hold on, I get to pick this," and to be able to and I mean, that's why I love life coaching too, is to be able to, like, look at someone in the eyes and truly tell them, like, "You get to pick your cheese. You have what it takes. Like, you are enough." Was just such, like, a powerful moment, so, yeah. So that's my 2 cents on labels. And when they
Yeah.
disappear and when your cheese leaves. Um, yeah.
Hmm.
What are
Well,
your
this
thoughts?
leads me huh?
What are your thoughts so far? What
I yeah, I mean, I'm I am very grateful to have had people in my life who were very much already very like, well, you can pick your cheese. My mom talks about it all the time about how she wanted to make sure that no matter what it is that I wanted to do, and my dad did as well, like whatever interests I had. One year I wanted to learn to play the saxophone and be in band, and they were just like, "Okay, here you go." Like,
Oh,
and
that's
I
so
did it
cool.
for maybe a month or 2, and then I was like,
Sure.
"Okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore." And then same thing with like the guitar, and then I did this like in the malls, they were doing this like model acting search thing, whatever,
Yeah, I
and
totally know what you're talking
it
about.
was kind of expensive to do, but my mom was just like, "Well, if you really wanna do it, okay, fine, like, let's do it." And I had a blast and nothing really came of it, but she was like, "Alright, just go do it." Thankfully, I didn't really my parents didn't push me too much to pick a cheese that they wanted for me, so
Mhm,
no, like, "Well, go become a doctor." No, "Well, you should do this, you should do that." They were very just, "Well, whatever you do, just make sure you can take care of yourself," kind of thing. Cool,
mhm,
great,
mhm,
wonderful. And then I had other mentors kind of growing up who were also very just do what makes you happy and you'll find a way to make money. And so I really embraced that cheese, I would say. And so thankfully having that at such a young age, I think really helped me to avoid that kind of like having to go down corridors and feeling like they were dark and scary, and to me, it was just like, "Oh, cool. This is like another adventure. Alright, let's just check it out. Let's see. Okay, and I'll do this, and I'll try this out." And, I mean, in the beginning, I did have people tell me, "Well, just stay at one job
mm, mhm.
forever." And so I did that with Red Lobster, as my first job, and I was there for, like, 10 years. And then eventually, well, they let me go without telling me after I had my motorcycle accident.
Oh
And
my
I just called
god.
one day and I was like, "Hey, so I'm cleared to go back to work. Like, so when do I start? When can I start up again?" They were like, you don't work here anymore." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, "Yeah, I don't find you in the system." I was like, "Okay, well, cheese has been moved. Um, well, thank
Finally,
you, and see you never. I'll go find another cheese. Thank you." Um, so that happened. But then I think after that, like, I've had so many different kinds of jobs. I've done bartending. I went to a bartending school for a little bit. I never actually finished the certification, but it was enough to let me work at like a catering business for a
mhm,
little bit, doing that and serving as well. And then I also worked at a psych hospital. I joined the military. I did caregiving for a little bit. And so again, like just a bunch of adventures that I was just like, hey, life is whatever I want it to be, and let's just go with it. And until I land on something that I'm like, yes, this is the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life.
yeah,
Which kind of did end up kind of being at Disney a little bit because I was like, yeah, cool. I get to make
sure.
people happy. I customer service, like I love it. And even when people are like ridiculous or whatever, I learned how to be very understanding again, moving like, well, just adjusting the cheese, I guess, and going, well, this cheese, yeah, it might not be as shiny as delicious as I thought it was, but it's fine. I'll make it delicious. Add some seasoning to it or something. I don't know. There's no seasoning in the Who Moved My Cheese book. There's just cheese. Just disclaimer. I don't want to misrepresent the book. Uh, so yeah, I think again, like I'm blessed to have had people in my life who are already very just look, just go through the maze. It's fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. Like, okay. And then, but then on that end, like, I don't know if someone had asked me maybe in the beginning of the maze, hey, where do you really want to be at the end of this? And like, what does that really look like for you? I think would have helped me to get to the cheese that I wanted a lot sooner.
Mhm.
But again, right, then the all of the parts of the maze that I did get to experience and adventure through allowed me to appreciate my cheese more, and also allowed me to, I think, really show up for my cheese in the way that I want to, right?
Yeah,
Like the thing that makes
absolutely.
us great life coaches is that we have been through some stuff to be able and come out on the other side of it for the most part, right? And obviously we're still on our journeys and stuff.
Sure.
So there's that. So yeah, that would be my 2 cents on the identity crisis that you gave me.
I mean, it's so real, so real. And I think that that's like the biggest thing I feel like at the end of the day with this book is like change is happening all the time, whether you welcome it or not. So all the
Yep.
time, like you can think that you found the cheese forever, but you're kidding yourself because the cheese is eventually like cheese is not infinite. It's not like it has its capacity and then that's it. And then you shall move on again if you're willing to embrace that or not. And I think like with our modern society, we've just been like totally like we've been tricked into like thinking that things are infinite when they are finite and things come and go. They have beginnings and they have ends. Are you going to embrace that? Are you going to have open arms? Or are you going to be like, "No, that's not reality. That's not true." Whatever it is. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think again, just the sooner you're able to come to terms with change happens all the time, like get on board or be hungry,
Yeah.
essentially,
Or I mean, even like when people are like, well, look, this cheese is the best cheese you're gonna be able to get. So you
right?
should just be grateful for
Yes,
this cheese. And
yes,
don't even look because there's no
anywhere
cheese greater
else.
than this
You're
one.
crazy to look anywhere else. Oh, I've been told that.
Yes.
When I
Yeah.
almost my mom actually, she was the one that was like, "You're stupid for quitting. What are you doing? You're crazy. Why would you do that?" Right? And I was just like, "What?" Like this such an important person is like telling me I'm crazy, but I know deep down inside, like this is killing me. This is
Yeah.
killing me, and ugh, yeah. But here I am. Here I am
Yep.
now
Gone through the
doing things I
maze.
never like that old version of myself would have been like, no way, right? They would still be really sad eating lunch in their cubicle for 15 minutes with their togos, like crying instead of having a freaking awesome time reading life-changing books, doing podcasts, like all the things that came about because I made that decision to go into the maze, right? Like how beautiful. Um, so guys, life is beautiful. Go into the maze. Let us know how it
Yes.
goes. We're here to cheer you on. We're here to write messages up on the walls for you guys. We're here to support you, to celebrate you, to provide little nibbles along the way as much as we can. Because it is not easy. It is challenging, but it is so worth it. So worth it.
Yes. Yeah, because oh man, again, like I think going back to this book that you literally just making that initial decision and it being the hardest, but then once you get out into the maze and you realize it's not as scary as you thought it was, or as
Mhm.
scary as other people tried to make you think it was because they're afraid you're going to leave.
Mhm.
Once you get out there and see the world, like you're just
Yeah.
like, you know what? Like, this is crazy. And again, like, you don't, and I wish someone would have told me this before, but you know, who knows? Maybe things would be different. Just you don't have to necessarily like completely abandon ship on your cheese, your current one. Like, go look for other cheese while you're with that cheese. Unless you're in a relationship, then you know I would not
Sorry.
necessarily. I would not say like, hey, you know, go find some other cheese while you're still with your cheese. Like, no, then you need to have like a conversation and figure out why this cheese
Oh,
is moldy.
man.
Um,
Yeah.
but like for other things like jobs, things like that, where it's like, well, I hate my job now, or this is not fulfilling me. I'm not getting full on this cheese. It smells terrible. I hate it. I never want to eat it again. Okay, well then start that journey of like looking at other jobs, because then you're not looking at it from a place of, oh my god, I have no cheese, I need now. You can actually
Mhm.
take the time to really inspect other cheeses, making sure other cheeses are actually going to be a good fit for you and that you're actually going to enjoy it. At least that the potential to enjoy it is better than what you have currently, right? And so um, I guess like another great book that I love is Quit, which I don't know, maybe we'll read that one next, but because I haven't finished it yet. But even in that one, yes, don't accept one cheese. It's not all Gouda.
It ain't all Gouda.
Oh man, that is one sharp cheddar right there. Anyways, all right. I'm surprised I haven't done any
I
like
know, the
cheese
cheese
puns in this
puns and
segment.
dad jokes have not been too strong today for, like,
I
how much they
know.
could be.
It's just I did say I was cheesy in the
You
beginning.
did, you
I
did.
did. I did that. But this book, because it's just it's so powerful and it's so
Yeah.
short and so small, but it's so powerful. Um, but you know, like really take that time to inspect the other cheeses. And like I said, so what I was saying is in that book, Quit, she talks about, well, what are the chances that you're miserable now? Then what are the chances that you're miserable if you start this movement and you go out on this new journey? And usually the chances of you being miserable now are 100% because you are miserable. Then when you leave, the chances may be 50-50. I don't know. Maybe it'll be,
Mhm.
well, that's still a 50% chance that you could be having the greatest time of your life. That this could be the job, the dream job, you know, whatever it is. I would say dream relationship, but I'm not telling you to go and, you know, taste other cheeses while you're with your cheese. So, but you know, like do it now
Yep. Don't
when you have
wait.
the time and you're not stressed about not having cheese. Because if Hem and Haw had just done like Sniff and Scurry, where okay, they found the cheese and they're like, okay, this is good. You know, enjoy it for a little bit. You know, give it a day. Or, you know, enjoy it. Enjoy the efforts you've made to get to that point. Enjoy it. And then start looking, okay, well, if it's not another job, then and you love your job now, then okay, well, what are the next steps? How are you moving up? What's going on there? So you can have a greater impact, get more life fulfillment, things like that. And you know what, if you enjoy it and you're just like, hey, like this cheese is good, I like it, cool, great, then just keep an eye on the cheese so that you're making sure that it's not getting moldy and it's not turning into styrofoam and your everything is good still. So that way you're aware, and you know, if you need to leave, then you can start looking for other things, right? So yeah, that it's yeah, it's so powerful, just that initial movement out.
Yeah.
And another thing I wrote here was when we talk about like belief, but it's this again, this idea of like just having faith that your path is the right path and just keep growing and learning and taking time to reflect back on your past and the things that have gotten you to the point of where you are now. Um, because I think what's he said here? He was letting go. Ah, yes. So this is when Ha was going around, and it says Ha didn't realize it yet, but he was discovering what nourished his soul. He was letting
Mhm.
go and trusting what lay ahead for him, even though he did not know exactly what it was. And that is like, I feel like it's the literal definition of faith, that you just know that even though you can't see it, even though you're not sure 100%, that it is there. Something is there for you and it's waiting for you. You just got to go get it.
Mhm.
So that also was just like a huge thing.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that, like, he doesn't even know it yet.
Yeah,
That
that I
you
loved.
know,
I was
like
like, "Oh my gosh, this
yeah.
is so good." There's so many good nuggets in here.
I wanna
Um,
share one too that I, like, had highlighted that I feel like is, similar of he had to admit that the biggest inhibitor to change lies within yourself and that nothing gets better until you change. Perhaps most importantly, he realized that there's always new cheese out there whether you recognize it at the time or not, and that you're rewarded with it when you go past your fear and enjoy the adventure. And it's, like, right there that, like, going past the fear, enjoying the adventure, that is your, like, cheese cheese, 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 right there. How
yes,
powerful. So, mm,
yes, it's beautiful. I'm just trying to think of a cheese, but a name I can't.
a
I'm
cheese
hold on.
pun.
I'm gonna let me pull up some cheese names, and then I'm gonna find a way to
Um,
sneak those in these last few minutes.
you're, like, opening up your brain to the the cheese pun maze.
Yes.
Um, ugh, wow. We'd love to hear from the chat if anyone or from the pod who wants to share their big highlight from today's chat. Would love to hear from you guys. What's something that stood out for you guys? And what is your takeaway? Jihong, anything that stood out for you specifically today?
If you're going to stay with your cheese, if you decide to do that, then it feta be worth it.
Crazy.
You better keep making sure that you check to make sure that it is Gouda,
Oh my
so that
gosh.
way it doesn't turn into a monster.
Ah,
And if it does, then you ricotta be kidding me. I don't know. There we
you
go.
gotta be
Yes,
kidding me.
you gotta be kidding me. Um,
Wow.
so there you go. But
Boom.
truthfully, yeah, like because I know obviously, I mean, I feel like as coaches, we always want people to like achieve their best versions of themselves and all that. And I think we both agree too. Like, look, where you're at in your life, that can be fine too. Like, it's just to make sure then that you are checking in with yourself to make sure that it
Mhm.
still does align with what you want and need.
Yep.
Like, if you're in a job or a relationship and you're having to convince yourself that it's a good thing, you probably should do a little bit of rethinking on things and figuring out, doing your values work, figuring out, hey, what's going on? Why does this not feel fulfilling anymore? And
Yeah.
that's all I think we ask. And Kayla, you can add anything to that too. It's just we want to just make sure that whatever you're doing, you are living your happiest life, whatever that means to you specifically. Because again, just because I like what is one I like smoked Gouda, actually. Like, just because I like smoked Gouda doesn't mean you're gonna like smoked Gouda. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
it's the cheese for you. You got to find
Yep.
your own cheese still, but just making sure that the cheese that you are picking is Gouda for you, and it feta be worth it.
Mic drop.
I can't say anything anymore
I'm,
now.
like,
That's it.
totally, like, caught up. I'm like, "Yes, yes," and then just, like, cheese joke
And the
drop,
cheese.
then the cheese. That's
uh,
incredible. Yeah,
that's the
I second the cheese joke. I second the the call to just, like, really assess whatever cheesy situation you're in, and
yes.
don't be afraid. Explore, go out on the limb, have fun, lean into like um one question I wanted to ask was, and I think this would be a great way to wrap up today, would be what message would you write on the wall? What would be your message?
Um, be careful of other people's cheese because it might be nacho cheese. That is what I would write on the wall.
Period.
To stay in line with what I've been saying, like you just gotta make sure that it is your cheese and nacho cheese. Anyways, that's what
Set.
would you write on the on the wall?
Mine's not quite as punny as yours. I was gonna say to lean into the highs, into all the little bits along the way, and know that like those lows, those dark corridors, those dead ends are only temporary, and to just know that there's cheese at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
literally in this book.
Yes, literally in this book. A ton of
Literally.
cheese, a lot of new cheeses
A
too.
lot of new
And
cheeses.
maybe one type of cheese is not enough for you. Maybe you want
Yeah.
a bunch of different cheeses. Then
We really
unless
should
it's about relationships, then that's good. Um, again, I just wanna make sure people understand that, we and I are not advocating for you to be partaking in other cheeses in relationships. Yes. Yeah.
Respect and consent are essential here.
Yes, yes. And if you need help navigating any of
We
that stuff,
respect
get
and
with
have
us,
consent with
talk with
all
us.
cheeses in these situations.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, life is filled with many good moments.
Money.
Um,
That's so good.
yeah,
Um,
I'm trying to work Brie in here in some way, but for some reason I can't find a way, but
Juhong, all of your puns have been brilliant. Did that land? Eh,
close. It was a
eh,
stretch. The cheese pull
clearly.
on that was pretty long. Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, on that note,
We're on that
um,
note, that cheese definitely isn't Kayla's. We're gonna leave that one with
we
Juhong.
we ricotta go, and we will
Leave
see
on a good
y'all
note.
next week.
See you guys next week. Have a good one.
All right. Okay. Bye.
Bye.